Testing 1 2 3. 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 Blah 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 blah. Alrighty, welcome to Nycos D&D. This is the 10. We are going to be going over the 10 veils and giving you full information on those, letting you understand how they work together and how they are defined. Alrighty, so as we talk about the 10, we're going to be picking them up from the image here to off to my I guess it's my left, the studio right. The symbol there we're looking at is protection, and as we look at protection, we are looking at the blue veil. And blue veil basically is the concept of protection. Carolus, the named veil, is the stalwart of protection, and he does everything he can to maintain the world as it is. He's not favoring the interference of the horrible temporal storms or anything like that, and he really doesn't like the idea of it all coming to a dismal end. And for these reasons, both Nihilus and Purpurus are his enemies, because it takes some forms of change and certainly absolute control to actually affect law and order. Flavius here, Blue Veil here finds Flavius and Rubera to be allies. That is to say, change and control are allies to Blue. The core of the Blue's philosophy is fairness, which is the measure by which Carolan workers achieve their goals. They do this by achieving it through implementation and exercise of order. Peace is the objective. When they have achieved their goal, there will be no changes in the world, and all will be protected from one another. Next, we're going to talk about the orange veil. This would be number 9, and I guess you call it in the countdown, although they're not in any particular order. We're not looking at it from the standpoint of the best or worst. But the citron veil of Arrhenius represents serendipity, happenstance, and good fortune. The philosophy is that of whatever happens is what was supposed to happen. If things change, so be it. If things stay the same, so be it. But let's just not worry about it. Let's just enjoy ourselves, because life is, after all, left to be explored and enjoyed. Arrhenius has the essence of water, because they are as go with the flow as you can get. And ultimately, they achieve joy at the end of their search. Next, we come to Flavius, the yellow veil. And in the case of Flavius, his philosophy, or their philosophy, is simply change for change's sake. Things aren't the way they're supposed to be right now, so let's mix it up. Let's make it different. Because of their material nature, their domain is change, and their essence is fire, which is as unpredictable as possible. They seek out novelty and new experiences. Because of this, they find both time and liberty their allies, because you can do more things and be more places if you have access to more times and places to be. And for these reasons, also, the very concept of holding oneself back, or trying to maintain some form of purity, or to protect people from possible outcomes, these are all therefore the enemies of Flavius, and so therefore he opposes Nihilus and Carolus. which means the white and the blue. Next we have control, the red veil. The crimson veil of Rubera, the minister of control. The very concept here is that life is too chaotic to be understood or contemplated, but instead what we should do is simply lock everything down. The essence is earth, the unmovable and unchangeable. Their objective is discipline, both for themselves and for others. Control to them is just another way to say, I care. Ribera finds itself in direct opposition to liberty, because control and liberty are basically opposing ends of the spectrum. Now, power and purity are allies because both of them demand and require the discipline and are ways to manipulate and control others by determining whether or not they are worthy of purity or fall under the power of control. Next, we speak of indigo, the veil of truth. Indicus, the testator of truth, believes that truth is what you should seek and then what we should defend, and that understanding the way to discover truth. I missed my page here. Understanding the way to discover that which you seek is their methodology, and their perspective is what is gained, because once you know the truth, you can gain perspective on the rest of identity, the rest of reality. Alrighty, the Indicenes also see a passage of time and the exercise of control as necessary, and so Purpuras and Rubera are allies to the truth. You control access to the truth. That is not necessarily the accuracy of it, but simply that time will make the truth known. And if you spend the time to control yourself and develop discipline, you can find truth. On the other hand, the idea of eliminating evidence or willfully ignoring the facts means that both Nihilus, which is the destruction force, and Arrentius, which is the I don't care what the truth is, I want to live my life philosophies, are the oppositions to indigo. Next we come to liberty, the black veil. Genera, the Lady of Liberty, seeks to find liberty and is as whimsical and non-controllable as the wind. Its purpose and objective is to achieve autonomy in the world. Their basic premise is this: by faith you will always make a choice, whatever it is. That includes the choice to not make a choice. That is itself a choice. Now, these are advantages to both life itself and to change, because liberty leads you to make changes in your life, and therefore Flavius and Viridus are allies of the black. So yellow and green are allies to the black of liberty. Further, they don't see any point in attempting to seek out purity or justice, because you are going to be free to make whatever choices you want. And so Genera opposes Nihilus and Vol. The very concept of power unbridled is a terrifying thing, and black doesn't choose to ally itself with that. Next is the white veil, purity. Nihilus is the paragon of purity. It holds to this view by presuming that there should not have been the changes that have occurred in the world, and that we need to return to a clear and singular purpose. Their essence is darkness, because ultimately the darkness is the reverse of the light, and their purpose is to achieve the peace of darkness. And their enemies are both Carolus and Purpuras, because they oppose the purple for propagating storms, and they oppose blue for trying to hold things the same, they believe that the storms should cease, that the world itself will end once these errances and such come to peace. For this reason, there are no consistent allies to nihilists. They have found themselves on the short end of the stick as far as enemies in several places, and they are not well appreciated by the others. Next, we go to truth. Time itself. The purple veil. The violet veil of Purpuros, the harbinger of time. The Purpurians see time as the currency that they use to exchange things. So for them, they believe that all we must do is wait for time to settle its own affairs. This, in effect, means expanding and propagating the storms themselves, in that they will rectify eventually into a singular time frame that will be infinite and therefore give them the consistency of eternity, for there will be no end of time thereafter. Of course, the very concepts of chaos and control, opposite ends of the spectrums, cause Purpuros to oppose both the yellow and the red, Flavius and Ribera, and to find that the happenstance attitude and the truth often fall within the auspices of time, and therefore Aurentius and Indicus, orange and indigo, are their allies. Now we come to the one that's most friendly with everybody, the Viridian veil. Viridis, the archon of vitality, holds that life itself, the very vital nature of our existence, is so important that it fulfills and fills all. Their essence is aether, spreading beyond the boundaries of the physical world into the spiritual realms, and their methodology is to become abundant. Share with all, because when you share and expand, you make life itself more worthy and larger and bigger than ever. Blue, with its placid state, and genera, the very concept of liberty, are both ways to maintain life, and therefore blue and black are the allies of green. Of course, the enemy of life is time, for all things must end. Therefore, Viridis opposes both Nihilus and Purpuros, because either of them suggest an end to life as it is. I do believe we've gone the full circle. Let me double check. Yes, we have spoken of all the veils, so we wrapped it up through the veils in less than 15 minutes. That's pretty impressive. I will stay on for a few more minutes if there's anyone that is online and wants to chat or whatever. I don't see any commentary in the chat box, so I will therefore go ahead and end this episode of the 10. Thank you for watching, and make sure to watch for the next of the Game Mastery series videos to drop tomorrow around 2 o'clock. This is Jonathan Albin, the Game Market Guru. Have a great day.